Hey guys, it's Michaela and you're watching FunsizedStyle. I'm so excited for today's video. I feel like I say that about every video. I just love what I do here on the internet. But I'm particularly excited about today's video because it's some of my favorite type of content to film. It's educational content and I love this stuff. Medical stuff and gizmos and gadgets, and I get to chat all about it today and answer your questions. It's crazy to be on the other side of this. As you can tell, today's video is a bone anchored hearing aid Q&A. It's crazy to be on the other side of this because just last year I was the person with all the questions, and now I am the one with the answers to these questions as a somewhat experienced user of a bone anchored hearing aid. And so it just feels like a very full circle moment for me, and this kind of content didn't exist from another user when I was embarking on my journey, deciding to receive a bone anchored hearing aid. Ultimately, I obviously decided to get one, and I have no regrets. It's great to have information about an experience that you're about to go into that's so new to you and all of that. So I'm really excited to hopefully be a resource for one of you, somebody that I wish I had before I started this journey. And not like anything went wrong, it's just that I went into this totally blind and not knowing what to expect. My surgeon had to explain everything to me because I've never had this type of surgery before. I've had, like I said, a traditional hearing aid, as you guys know, but I only got to use a traditional hearing aid for a couple of months before it was revealed to us that it was not a sustainable option for me. I was still obviously very new to hearing devices, so I'm excited to share about that today. I also want to share, I'm sorry the lighting is so weird. It's definitely the shirt for some reason. Whenever I wear this shirt, like, it makes the lighting very warm, which is weird because obviously this is not a warm color. So I don't know, it's just like, I don't know if it's this type of fabric or it makes the lighting look a little bit weird. So I apologize about that. But today I'm going to be answering all of your questions that you submitted on bone anchored hearing aid. A question you think someone may have about a bone anchored hearing aid. If you yourself don't need one, but maybe someone you know does, and you ask the question for them, I'm here to answer those as well. So there's quite a few, which I was surprised about. One of the videos that you guys requested, I've already shared so much about the device, I couldn't possibly know if there was anything else that you guys wanted to know, but there definitely is. And so I'll be sure to share that with you today. I'm also going to have several resources linked down below that will help you as well. Specifically from MED-EL, which is the company that my hearing aid is made by. And then also I did an interview with them. I'm going to share a little bit about this in the beginning as well. But as you guys know, I do not have a cochlear implant. I have a bone anchored hearing aid, and these are two different devices. And so if you want to learn the difference between a cochlear implant and a bone anchored hearing aid, I did an interview with some amazing, incredible people at MED-EL. So I'll have that interview linked down below. We have a really great conversation about differences between those two devices, the similarities of course. So I will be answering this obviously from the perspective of a MED-EL BoneBridge user. Some of the questions I will speak a little bit about other models of bone anchored hearing aids, what they do or don't have. So I'll be referencing that as well. So just know that my experience as a MED-EL BoneBridge user may not necessarily reflect the opinions or experience of other BoneBridge users. I'm simply sharing my experience, and of course this is not medical advice. I have no credentials to give you medical advice. This is simply educational and entertainment purposes only. I'll have, again, links down below where you can contact real people from MED-EL who actually know medical stuff and help you find a provider who does know medical stuff. With all those disclaimers aside, let's go ahead and get into this Q&A. Be sure to follow me on Instagram if you want to participate in a Q&A like this in the future. I could also do a part 2 of a bone anchored hearing aid Q&A if that's something that you guys are interested in. If you have more questions at the end of this video, please leave them in the comments below and I will save them for a future Q&A. We have a few questions. I'm going to try to categorize these as much as possible. I don't know, just for my own sake, I guess. A few questions about surgery itself. The first question is, how did the installation go, like the surgery? They have to use screws. How is the device held into place? Let's break that down a little bit As you guys, most of you know, the MED-EL bone bridge does require surgery to have the internal piece implanted, and so the surgery went well. At least for me, it went incredibly well. I have a video up on my channel where I talk about the specifics of the surgery and things that my surgeon reported to me after the surgery, after I woke up and everything like that. That video talks in depth specifically about the surgery and about the outcome, and obviously it all went well. I've been glowing about my hearing aid ever since, but just more details of that, I do have a separate video. I'll go ahead and link that here, as well as in the description box below. This is very unrelated, but it was my first surgery since my spinal fusions surgery, so for me, just from that aspect of it, it was kind of like a big deal. Not a big deal, but just, I don't know, just kind of, I don't want to say back into surgery, because it's like not a routine thing for me. It shouldn't be, but the past couple of years it has. I did extremely well. There were no complications. The device itself, yes, held in by screws. There's a bone in my skull that the device is held into. I don't know how many screws, I think 2 maybe. My surgeon may have used 2 for me, or 3 for me. I know there's a minimum of 2, maybe used 3 for me. I'm not really sure. It's interesting because my surgeon, or an otolaryngologist, she's very well knowledgeable about osteogenesis imperfecta, and I feel like it can be challenging to find that specialist who, in that realm of otolaryngology, who also has a plethora of experience with osteogenesis imperfecta. She does, so I got really lucky there. So one of her concerns, like obviously there are other people with osteogenesis imperfecta with the MED-EL bone bridge and other models of bone anchored hearing in general. So from that aspect, she wasn't too worried, but also everyone with osteogenesis imperfecta has different bone quality, even within different type. My bone quality in my skull might be stronger than someone else's skull bone with type 3 OI. Like, it just varies within the type, and even within the same type, everyone's bone quality with OI is so different. So just because the bone held the screws well for them didn't necessarily mean that they would hold well for me. I think it was when I had my mastoidectomy surgery. I remember my surgeon saying that my skull, this was the same surgeon, by the way, that put in my bone anchored hearing aid. She said that she's done like all my skull-based surgeries. She said that I remember her noting like my skull in that area of surgery. She was surprised at how strong it was for having type 3 OI. That was encouraging, and then also remembering that she had mentioned that helped me make my decision on whether to pursue having the MED-EL bone bridge implanted, as well as if we decided on a different model. I also have discussed in other videos why we chose the MED-EL bone bridge specifically for me, but there's also other models of bone anchored hearing aids that have been around a lot longer than the MED-EL bone bridge, so that's why there is other people with osteogenesis imperfecta with bone anchored hearing aids in general. And just because I have a MED-EL bone bridge does not mean that is the best option for you. You may do better with a different model of a different make. So bone anchored hearing aid, it just depends. Because the implant is held in with screws, obviously that's concerned with osteogenesis imperfecta, is that my bone wouldn't be strong enough to hold the device. Obviously she couldn't guarantee that until surgery, and even after, like, it could, knock on freaking wood, I hope not, that it could come loose in the future. It's just the unpredictability of osteogenesis imperfecta. You guys have no idea. I mean, you've gotten a glimpse of it from the things that I've shared that I've gone through, and it's interesting because my time here on the internet was not during my prime childhood years, obviously, so you haven't gotten a chance, thankfully, to see my years of when osteogenesis imperfecta impacted me the most, like fractures and all that stuff. So, but obviously now that I'm older, my bones are so much stronger. But that is a concern that could happen in the future. If you don't have osteogenesis imperfecta, I don't even know if that's a listed risk in the surgery of it coming loose. And maybe just to cover their butt, I don't know. But if you don't have osteogenesis imperfecta, it's typically not a risk, I would probably say. But obviously talk to your provider with osteogenesis imperfecta. It's a risk that they have to tell you about because it is a greater possibility than most. However, I will say I do know 2 other people with a bone anchored hearing aid with OI. Same type. The one person has a different type than me, but long story short, it's a different model, but they had their bone anchored hearing aid for a long time now, which gives me a lot of hope. Something that I fear that I will always have, and I don't think anybody could take that away, especially because, as you guys know, I talked about it in this video. I'll link it here. I did have a moment a couple months ago where I started having pain in my head, and I was like panicking. It just ended up that we had to switch out the magnet string. Because this journey has been so long and difficult, I automatically go to the worst case scenario. I understand why I do that, because in this hearing loss journey I have experienced the worst case scenario in other ways. Just a general fear that I'll always have, and I don't think anybody can take that away. Me take away that fear, hopefully for the foreseeable future. It is holding extremely well, and I'm doing really, really well with the device, and my bone is holding it nice and tightly, which I am so thankful for, and I will treasure every single day that my bone allows the device the same. It's a long-winded way of having the screw situation and how the surgery went. Important for you to know those things because my situation is so unique, and these are things that most bone good hearing aid candidates won't have to worry about. The next question is, I would like to know how it sounds, how long did it take you to recover, how big is your scar? So again, a lot of questions in one, so I'll go ahead and break it down. It sounds great. It sounds incredibly natural. I don't know, it's just natural. It's just hard to describe how it doesn't sound a certain way, if that makes sense. Like, it just sounds very natural. If I'm in a really super loud environment, I do have to change the settings a little bit because it can sound not like feedback, but just like, I can't even describe the right word, but it has to be really, really loud for it to be like that. And even then, I'm able to just adjust the settings, and then it's pretty much, it's fine. So it's really hard to describe how it sounds because it just sounds natural. It doesn't sound computerized or robotic or digitalized. Like, it just sounds like natural sounds. However, as far as like volume goes, obviously it sounds a lot louder. It's hard for me. One question that I get a lot is like, do you think it sounds as good as your natural hearing, or do you think it's as good as your natural hearing was? And the thing is yes, I'm able to hear fully on my left side, so I do know what it's like to hear natural from that sense, but in the same way, on my right side, I have not had natural hearing on my right side in like 7 years, so I don't remember what it's like to have two fully functioning ears without the assistance of hearing technology on my right side. It's been so many years. I don't remember what it's like to hear fully without the assistance of hearing technology from my right side. So to have two working ears in tune with each other, I honestly don't remember what that feels like or sounds like. I just have to take with what I've got now with this device. But as far as I know and what I can imagine and what I'm able to hear fully on my left side, because I'm able to hear fully on my left side, I can confidently say that it sounds really good. The next question is, how long did it take you to recover from the surgery? The surgery itself, the activation day was 2 weeks later from the surgery. So I would say about a week and a half. I was fully recovered. I was mostly recovered in a week. And then it's a little bit of, like, I could still feel I had surgery with like another half a week. So a full, week and a half, I would say, to fully, but most of the pain was gone within a week. Obviously, that was just my experience. I will say it was a lot more painful than I thought it would be. My situation in all this is so unique, it's hard for me to share because it's like, I've had so many surgeries. I've had 29 surgeries. Before this, my last surgery was a spinal fusion. Having this implant put inside of me felt like a walk in the park compared to my spinal fusion. It's really hard for me to talk about like pain and recovery because I've gone through a lot more than most people have, and I think to the average person who hasn't had a lot of surgery, I would probably rank this as pretty painful, not the worst pain, if that makes sense. Somewhere in the middle. Really, it varies person to person. I was at least well enough to work on my college classes 4 days later, if that helps you like gauge anything. But again, that's just me and my incredibly high pain tolerance. So that was just my recovery experience. The last question that this person asked is, how big is your scar? So it's really hard to say or show how big my scar is because I haven't seen it fully. Like, I've only seen a little bit of it behind my ear because of when I first had the surgery. My head was like semi-shaved. But other than that, I can't see the scar because I have so much hair on my head, and my surgeon graciously shaved as little hair as she possibly needed to. So I'm very grateful to her for that. I can't tell you how many inches It is, I will say mine is, I would say probably bigger than most because my hearing aid, my bone bridge had to be placed a little bit higher up in my skull where there's thicker bone. Where they typically put this device, there's like a certain range that you can put it because obviously it has a specific place in your skull where the sound is able to duct and do all the things and send all the signals it needs to send, but I don't know how it works. I'll put a video down below. It's like way above my head. There's a certain range of like where they can put it on your head for it to work. So mine, they had to put it a little bit higher up like in my head than typical because again that specific bone that they typically put this device on was just too thin. It would not have held it whatsoever. I went a little bit higher up there to find some really great, well, so high quality bone can get much better quality bone that was able to hold the screws nice and tight. For that reason, it goes, I'll turn and show you where my head, so you can see like where the hearing aid is. It goes from that point, like all the way to like behind my ear is where the scar goes. So it's pretty long. I can't see it. Nobody can see it because of the hair on my head. Like it's literally just not visible. If you're like bald or something, you may be able to see the scar. Other people around you may be able to see it if you don't have hair on your head. Scars do fade over time. I didn't really even inquire, like I didn't even ask my surgeon, how many inches is my scar? Like I didn't care because I can't see it. Other people can't see it and I have scars all over my dang body. I have them right here on my forehead. Like I'm not ashamed of my scars whatsoever. I actually love them. So just another one to add to my large collection, I guess you could say. I didn't even show you at the beginning, but if you're new here, this is the device that I'm talking about. I didn't even show you, but this is the Samba 2. This is the external processor of the MED-EL BoneBridge overall device, and the internal piece is called the PCI 602. I talked about all of this in my original video where I discussed the overall device, so I'll have that here linked as well. Hope those questions were helpful about the surgery and whatnot. So now getting into more of the questions about the device that I just showed you. The next question is, what is your favorite new sound to hear with? So that's a really great question. I loved this question. It was so unique. And I really had to sit and think about it. I don't know if new sounds, I would not say is the best way to describe it, which is kind of weird because I've described it in that way in like Instagram posts and stuff, which is probably why you're asking me. Because I do have full hearing in my left ear without the need for a device, I am able to hear most things. Depending on the environment that I'm in, I don't hear at all. Like it's either all or nothing kind of thing, I feel like, depending on what the sound is. But I will say one of my favorite things is being able to hear music, again, from my right side when I'm streaming Bluetooth. Obviously, when I'm listening to music without Bluetooth, it's hard to know, like, you know, what side it's coming from, what side I'm able to hear it. Mainly my left ear doing all the work when I'm listening to music without my Bluetooth device. The music to my Bluetooth obviously only goes to my right side. It doesn't go to my left because the device, there's no device on the left. So it's really crazy to me how I'm able to hear literally all the words to the music, because music was one of the things, like when I would wear headphones, like I could not hear music from my right side at all. It was one of my biggest areas of struggle. So it's really wild for me to hear music from my right side because I haven't in so many years, and I love music. Music is so important to me. It's helped me through so many hard times, and I'm just like very connected to music. I'm constantly listening to music. It's so powerful in so many ways and so many emotions, and I just love music. So that's why I'm so grateful that I never lost hearing in my left ear, because I don't know what I would do without music. I literally don't know what I would do. That would be my favorite sound, I think, here from my right side now, is streaming Bluetooth from my right side, because that's the only way that I'm able to hear music from my right side is using the Bluetooth, because like I said, I don't have a device on my left side. The music streams directly to the device on my right side. When I want to listen to music but I don't want other people to hear it, I wear this and I can hear the music, which is, it's still so crazy to me, like 6 months later, that I can hear music and lyrics and all of that, and I haven't in so long. So I would say that's my new favorite sound to hear from my right side. The next question is, does it get tangled in your hair? That's a great question. As you saw in this video and other videos as well, me take it on and off to show you the device. So no, it doesn't, which I was really surprised about. Another reason for most gals that it won't is because you don't need like the clip typically. I just do, if for whatever reason it did get knocked off, as a wheelchair user I can't just like bend down and pick it up. So having it clipped to my shirt is another way for it to just, you know, to catch it basically, so it doesn't fall all the way to the ground. I'm able to just grab it wherever it's hanging and it's end up on the floor. The only challenging part is not, I don't want to say challenging, but you obviously have to style your hair before you put the device on, or like your device off while you style it, just because it would be really hard, like nearly impossible. I would actually say impossible. Style your hair with the device on, so you do have to take the device off to style your hair, but then whatever style you do, you can just pop it back on. Another thing that I discussed in the interview with the incredible people at MED-EL, one of the things that they talked about too is talk to your surgeon. Like if you're considering one of these devices, talk to your surgeon about the things that are important to you. Like, for example, if you wear glasses, if you like wearing hats, if you like to do certain hairstyles, whatever things that are important to you that involve your head, like tell your surgeon so that he or she can plan those items with you to your appointment that are important to you, or pictures like of hairstyles that you like to do, so that your surgeon can place the device in a way, in an area that you're still able to do all those things. You're still able to wear your glasses, you're still able to wear your favorite hats, you're still able to wear a bike helmet, you're still able to do your favorite hairstyle, try new hairstyles. I thought that was an incredible tip that they gave in that interview. Of course, it'll be linked so you can hear more about that, but that would be my main thing. But for me, I just do like the same hairstyles, just down. I'll occasionally do a half up, half down look. There's not anything that I had to worry about in terms of it getting tangled. But again, talk to your surgeon about all the things that are important to you that involve your headwear for whatever you're doing, like styles, anything. That way they can get creative on where to place it so that you can still do the things and have the things that are most important. Was it hard to adjust to? That's a good question. So that's what's really unique about a bone anchored hearing aid in comparison to a cochlear implant, because for people who have a cochlear implant, they're very, very deaf. So a lot of times for people who have a cochlear implant, they're hearing voices for the very first time, hearing the world for the very first time. So it's a lot different. Like they're going from complete silence to overstimulation of sound, and so it's complete 180. I didn't have that experience because I have single-sided hearing loss. I never lost all of my hearing. I have full hearing on my left side, and so when I heard for the first time, it's still extremely emotional for me because I didn't realize how deaf I was on my right side until they turned the device on and I heard my dad talk to me for the first time with the device on, and just how much clearer and louder he was. The way that my hearing loss is and was, it wasn't hard to adjust to in terms of overwhelm. Like it wasn't like I was going from complete silence loudness. It was just going from like a hearing loss level to a more magnified level of sound. Hope that makes sense. That's really hard to explain. People who have cochlear implants, they have to undergo what's called, I think it's called auditory rehab, where they like really work with you to like get acclimated hearing sounds, because it can be very stimulating for you, very overstimulating for your brain. Like imagine just going from complete and utter silence to hearing somebody's voice, a human voice, for the very first time ever. It's a lot for the brain to calculate. Auditory rehab is quite the process, and they work with you to cope with hearing different sounds, and working for some people, like their speech is really impacted, and with a cochlear implant, because obviously they're so deaf, their speech is impacted. Part of that auditory rehab is like also can involve speech, like therapy, hearing the sounds and like what sounds mean, like when people speak, and I don't know, there's a lot to it. But for the process of adjustment, there really, I wouldn't say there really is an adjustment period, just really similar to a traditional hearing aid. I would say that's how I would describe the bone anchored hearing aid adjustment period. Is really similar to a traditional hearing aid. At least for me. When my mom and I went to a concert, I turned my hearing aid way down because it was so loud. Again, I'm still getting used to this. I'm not used to hearing fully. Really loud environments like that are still a little bit like for me, even after like 6. But other than that, like it's very natural, and I've just kind of streamlined right into it. For a cochlear implant, it is a totally different ballgame, because again, oftentimes they're going from complete silence, from never hearing a human voice in their life to hearing a human voice for the first time. I wouldn't say that it was hard for me, but I will say, and this part isn't even hard, but getting the magnet strength figured out was a little bit challenging. So the MED-EL Bonebridge is, the external piece is held on by a magnet, because there's also a magnet in the internal piece that attracts the magnet from the external piece. There's different magnet strengths. That magnet strength that you need depends on your skin thickness, your hair thickness, your weight. So I originally started out at a 4. I originally started out at 3, then it wasn't holding because of swelling from surgery, and I went up to a 4, but then I started getting those headaches and I thought that the implant was coming out. So then I got moved back down to a 3, and it seems to be holding well. But they have, the MED-EL Bonebridge has 6 different magnet strengths. 1 through 6, 1 is the least strong and 6 is the strongest, and I'm currently at a 3, and that could change as time goes on. That is what the adjustment period is like. So the whole magnet thing, I would say that was the hardest adjustment period, but now that I'm at a more stable place and we found one that fits well for me, now that my swelling has gone down after surgery. The next question is, any regrets or things you weren't expecting to deal with? Actually, no regrets. I'll start out with no regrets. As far as anything you weren't expecting to do, I'd probably say the magnet strength situation, because on activation day my audiologist did mention that, but I just really didn't think that it would really change a lot because it was holding so well on activation day. I really didn't think it would change a lot, and it did. It's interesting because they can't give you like all the magnet strengths 1 through 6 for you to try because, or to keep at home with you, because it's very fine balance, because if you have too strong of a magnet, you can get the headaches that I was getting, which is why I got the headaches. The 4 became too strong as the swelling went down. Once you get the headache, it can actually cause external damage to your scalp. If it's way too strong, your audiologist has to be the one to the magnet so that they know you're getting the right one, not causing external damage to your skin or scalp. Completely minor thing, and thankfully that's all that it was for me, and my device is still holding strong. The whole magnet thing, I guess, was something I didn't expect really, but just because on activation day it was so well. But we're good now, healing well from surgery, and absolutely no regrets. None. Zip, zero, nada. I would do it all over again, but let's hope I don't have to. The best decision of my life. Okay, well, absolute best decision of my life was my spinal fusion, because I have more lung function and my heart has more room to work. Spinal fusion than this. 2 best decisions of my life. Next question is, can you wear it in the water? So yes and no. No, not by itself. MED-EL does have accessories that you can buy to protect your device in the water. I don't know about other bone anchored hearing aid models. I would imagine not. I don't know. But they may have water wear accessories. I have no idea. I know MED-EL does, and that's what I can speak on. I don't have any because I am not a waterlog. I don't spend a lot of time in the water. I don't swim. I take a shower and that's it. And I can take it out long enough to shower because, again, my hearing is such that I'm okay. Like, I'm able to enough to where I can just get in the shower and get out. And then I'm also not alone when I'm taking a shower. Like, someone's always nearby, so it's not like I wouldn't know that the house is on fire. If I was alone for whatever reason while I was in the shower and didn't have someone in the next room over, like, yeah, I would water wear so that I could be safe and hear all the things I need to hear from a safety point. But for me, I'm okay long enough to not need the water wear accessories. I could purchase them if I wanted to. It is not waterproof on its own. You can, if it's raining, you're okay to like go like inside of a store or something, but obviously don't hang out in the rain and try to protect it at all costs. They described it to me as it's water resistant but not waterproof. So again, a couple drops of rain is fine, but it's, again, you know, if you submerge it in water, you're fresh out of luck. Unless you have the water wear accessory, you have to keep it out of the water. The next question is, can you wear it all the time? So no, like I mentioned, water is a no unless you have the water wear accessories. Other than that, I guess yes. As long as you have the water wear accessories, people take them out to sleep, especially with the Bonebridge. The hearing aid, like, it goes in your ear and like behind your ear, so you can kind of wear it while you're sleeping. I don't know anybody that does, but the Bonebridge you really can't, because it's like it goes on your head and then you can't really like go to your side when it's on, especially where mine is because it's like higher up on my side, so I take it out to sleep. Other than that, I do wear it all the time except for sleeping and water. If I'm not sleeping or near water, then I wear it all the time. So I guess almost all the time would be the answer to that. The next question is, do you hear noise or feedback if your hair touches it? I'm getting mine in a month. Congratulations, that's so exciting. I'm so excited for you. I personally do not. There's no feedback. My hair is touching it, and as you can tell, I have a lot of hair. So I feel like I'm a pretty good subject to ask that question about. It sounds great, and I haven't had any noise or feedback. The last question is, can you change the color or design of the outside parts of the external processor? Yes, I can. MED-EL is one of the only brands that they have different covers you can purchase for your device. They do offer different covers, and I have a few. So I have the cheetah print one, and then I have a black and white that I love wearing. That's like one of my favorites. And then here I have a case here as well. These cases, obviously the cheetah print one and the black and white speckled one that I have to purchase separately, but your kit does come with the covers that match hairstyles our hair colors. So it comes with this color if you're blonde, comes with this color if you have black hair, color if you have brown hair like me, but I like my device to stick out, and then it comes with a couple other colors as well, and then again there's more to purchase separately. I'm so excited about the sound, and everyone's like, that's so cool, there's different covers, and I have to agree. That was one of my favorite parts as well. And it is really great too, and I think more hearing devices need to get on that, because this is a device that you're going to have forever. It does get a little bit old if it were to look the same every day, so it's really fun to be able to change the cover with my outfit. So that's one of the many things that MED-EL is doing right, and I love that I can change the cover, and I think it's funny how on Instagram that was one of the main comments that I got. My bone and good hearing aid, you can't change the cover, but they noticed that I could with mine, and so MED-EL, like, you're doing it right. People are noticing, and people love my different covers, so they're definitely ahead of the game in terms of giving users the opportunity to change the designs and covers with their device, with the bone bridge. But I'm gonna continue to mention it. It will be like my dream come true, be able to design my own cover with MED-EL. I already know like what designs I would do. It would just be a dream come true. I can see FunsizedStyle and MED-EL collab. Oh my gosh, dream come true. One of my main complaints is that I love the covers, but a lot of the covers are, at least for the bone bridge, are, in my opinion, are geared towards kids, which is like, it's kind of weird because I mean a lot of kids have hearing loss, so I'm not saying that there shouldn't be covers geared towards kids, but I feel like more adults struggle with hearing loss than kids, if that makes sense. So I feel like they should widen that gap a bit, and I could help that with FunsizedStyle collab, so we'll see. But dream come true, just out there in the world, maybe one day I could design my own collection. Just 2 or 3 covers with MED-EL I think would be super awesome. But anyway, so yes, to answer your question, yes, it is one of my favorite parts of my device. That is all the questions that you guys asked. I know we covered a lot of ground. You guys asked some really incredible questions, and I can do part 2 if you'd like me to. This video is like really long. And thankfully I was able to get to all the questions, because I don't think I could have answered one more if there was, because this video is long. But you guys asked really great questions. The description box is going to be full of information and resources, so please check that out. I love my MED-EL bone bridge. No regrets. Best decision of my life. It's changed my life. It has brought me so much joy, and I hope that this can be helpful and give you encouragement to go for it and do the dang thing, because it is so worth it. So worth the surgery, so worth the pain. It is so worth it. Thank you guys for allowing me to share this part of my life that brings me so much joy, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!